So I've always been fascinated with this show specifically because of the 4 symbols that we see before the show starts. I think those are so fascinating to watch. They're foreshadowing, but they're not so foreshadowing that they spoil anything you're about to watch in the show. How did that come about, and what is the balance of what you put in those boxes? Not spoiling it too much, but making us kind of wonder what they mean for later in the episode.
Well, that was Netflix was interested in having a title sequence. They said, well, it doesn't have to be credits, but we would like to see the name of the show before we start. It's just sort of like a box one would like to check. And I said, okay, but people already know the show they're watching before they watch it, so how can we do it in such a way where, so I said, well, let's spell the name out in symbols. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but those symbols are in the shape of the letters, right? So, so I said, well, then let's make those symbols sort of foreshadowing of that episode, and we call them chapter cards. So like the title of a chapter, it's usually a sentence that you don't understand the context for until after the chapter. And so I called up a guy I'm lucky to be friends with named Neil Kellerhouse, who's sort of David Fincher's graphic artist. And I said, hey, do you have any time to kind of take on this thing? Because I know how great he is with symbols and typography, et cetera, et cetera. So he was excited about that. So every episode I send him a list of things that are relevant to the episode. And then from that list, he picks which of those things, like, you know, fish or a broken boat motor or whatever it is that would lend themselves to either an R or a Z or an A or a K. And then he'll send me some mock-ups and I'll say, that one looks too obvious as a K. Why don't we, you know, take the fish, you know, gills and move them a little this way. So it would pass it back a few times and then we'd do it.
You know, I was thinking about the filmographies that you've had. Obviously, you've been Americans, right? TV shows and obviously movies as well. If there was to be a 4-box of kind of like looking at your filmography in one 4-box, like what would you put in there? Like what 4 movies would you choose from your filmography that you think like kind of solidifies your career so far?
Wow.
Okay. I know it's a loaded question, but I'm fascinated which 4 you would put in there to like that. If someone was to make like it was like an Ozark episode of Laura Linney, you know.
What are the 4 wheels on the Laura Linney car?
I need one more box.
You're at 3.
All right, give me the 5. What's the 5?
He's on a tricycle right now.
I think Tales of the City, the first Tales of the City, John Adams, You Can Count on Me, Savages, and John Adams.
Love that. All right, what would your 4 be if you had to choose the 4 that you think like represent you?
And these are films, yeah?
4 films or shows. You can do whatever you want.
Kinsey. Sorry.
Kinsey, yeah.
Sorry.
So 6 for you. What about you? What would your 4 be?
She's pulling a trailer.
Sorry.
I think Arrested Development would have to be there because that was sort of my lifeline. Little House on the Prairie started me out. This for sure, and then Dealer's Choice. You can go kitsch with Teen Wolf 2, or you can go with.
Me too. You and I are having like a nerd out moment.
I don't know.
Horrible Bosses, maybe?
Yeah, Horrible Bosses, yeah.
Teen Wolf 2, though, is like pretty amazing.
I am with you.
You should see it again. It's not.
This definitely, Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene.
Love that freaking movie.
That was my first movie, so I would count that. Grandma with Lily Tomlin is another one, and I guess maybe The Americans too, because I started out in film, and especially I started out in independent films in New York and stuff, so I feel like The Americans kind of opened the door for TV, because that was the first TV thing I've ever done. That was like probably my second TV audition that I ever did, and and then ever since then I've been doing TV, which I love, and then I've been doing Ozark. So.
Well, they're wrapping me up, but thank you so much for this. The show is amazing. I love the emotional connection between everything that's happening in this show, and thank you for playing with that question.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
That was a good question.
You guys are so much fun. That was really nice to meet you guys.